Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our play ratings from Bradford City 0, AFC Wimbledon 0. Now we are having a few minor technical difficulties in today's episode, and unfortunately the main normal camera is not working. It's persistently saying there is a memory card error and neither is a very good with IT, which is probably not ideal considering the roles that we are pursuing. But regardless from that, we have some comments to read over the last couple of weeks. I asked you what you're having for tea on Wednesday, and last week we were on the hunt for some 76-year-old Irish margarines. Now, unfortunately, there was none. According to Super Bantam, they are only in Korban's Dreams. Now, we're going to go through and rate some of your lovely teas and give them a rating out of 10. So if you just bear with me a moment while I pursue. Richard Corbett, it was his wedding anniversary last Wednesday, so they had sushi.
Brilliant. Not keen on sushi, but happy wedding day to you, Richard.
Well, not wedding day, wedding anniversary. I don't like... I've never had sushi, but that's fish, right?
Why ain't it wedding day?
Well, it's a wedding anniversary. He said anniversary.
It's like your birthday. You know, your birthday don't change, does it? Your wedding day don't change.
Yeah, but it's like your birthday anniversary.
Oh yeah, but you don't say that, you say birthday. So anniversary day.
So sushi out of 10?
No, I haven't really had it.
I don't think I have, but I think it would be a 0.
Yeah.
Disappointingly.
Yeah.
But a wedding anniversary gets a 10.
10. Does it?
Well, I don't know, might be 10 years. How many years was the wedding anniversary, Richard?
Are you happy? Because if you're not, get rid.
David Dunbar had chicken pie, chips and beans.
Chicken pie, no. Chips and beans, great. Minced beef pie, I think.
I'm not a big fan of pie. I think it just gets a bit... You know what I mean? It's just one of them where you got to grind it out for the 3 points. Bit of a Wimbledon type.
No, pie's nice. I like cottage pie.
Chips, if done in the air fryer, nice. Beans, not a fan of. Haven't liked them since maybe year 5.
You don't make chips in the air fryer though, when I've seen you make.
Not the air fryer. What's it? The chip pan. Chip pan, that's the one.
My chip pan's on fire.
Well, there was someone in my primary school, right, who smelled of beans. So I just went off beans because he used to smell of beans.
How do you smell the beans?
He just smelled like beans. And I told him once, and I didn't realise that it might actually be offensive.
How?
Well, I don't think people want to smell like beans, do they?
No, but, you know, tough luck. Smell better. Well, come on, what's the next comment?
You had a classic Wednesday night tea, the Bowie versus Adams chicken and pasta.
Yeah, that's just a 5, isn't it?
I think that's a 10 for me. I love chicken pasta.
No, it ain't chicken pasta. It's chicken. It was popcorn, chicken and pasta.
No, that's horrendous. That's a 0.
It's just boring, isn't it?
Popcorn, chicken and pasta. I thought you meant like chicken pasta, not actually chicken and pasta.
What's chicken pasta?
You have pasta with chicken in it. But not popcorn chicken.
Oh yeah, but ain't that the same?
No, popcorn chicken's like processed chicken. I'm on about like chicken breast, and you cut it up.
Oh no, well, I do have that, but there's any sort of chicken and pasta happens every night. So it just gets a bit boring, really. I'm not a fan of it. I don't like it. Because it's just like going to Valley Parade and having a 0-0 every weekend. You get sick to death of it, and you end up not getting a season ticket. But thankfully, there's a few 3-0s in there every season. So like last night, we had a pizza. It was nice actually.
Jamie here had homemade burger and chips.
Oh, well done, Jamie.
That's solid, is that?
That's that's like diabetic. That gets, is it a 9? Maybe 10? Could be a 10.
It's up there.
Yeah, well, we're rating it, but, you know, it could have made it wrong. You know, it could have been undercooked, overcooked. But on the basis of being homemade burger and chips, was it chips? Then that's smashing. Great stuff.
Andy Smith had a fish pie.
Each to their own.
Nah, this is 0. Absolutely hate fish.
Yeah, you hate fish?
Yeah. That was the last of the comments on the midweek episode. Last week we were on the hunt for some people. Let me just get up.
That doesn't sound good.
All the comments. No, we were specifically hunting for some people.
Not hunting.
James Pilkington agreed with your Accrington away crisis. He said it was ridiculous. It was so rammed. The first half was ridiculous. Kids had no chance seeing the game, but he got Tompkinson's shirt after the game, so it was well worth the cramp.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't for me.
Because you didn't get Tompkinson's shirt.
No, but good win. No cramp since.
Bantams Online has changed his name to Forza Bantams.
I know, I noticed that this morning.
I've only just noticed it now. When did you do that?
I know, it could have been like months ago, and I just keep thinking Bantams Online.
He is Not happy with our Diabate extreme talk. He says,
Well, I've got good news for you.
Diabate talk about one extreme to the other, 7.5 to 4. I'd give him a 5.5 as I watched him, and he wasn't a 7.5. I don't think many deserve the 7.
No. So he's more inclined to agree with me.
William Grant was the oldest member of the more SHD community.
Of what we know.
Of what we know. If you are older than 76, then let us know. But he says that we made his day. He first took an interest in City in 1976 when John Napier was manager. In the days of long hair and Keegan-style perms, I've witnessed more downs than ups, but that's life being a City fan.
Yeah, well, that's amazing. Fantastic. That's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's great, that.
And Ben Dover says...
what a name.
Let's settle this. Bernie's consistently dog wank. Diabate is consistently solid. Mr. Rayner is trying to make him sound crap just so he feels better about his little princess, Neil Byrne.
That's vile. That's derogatory use of the name, Ben. And Neil's good. Leave my Neil alone, my little princess. Prince, whatever.
No, he said princess.
Oh, well, lady. Let's get his gender right.
Super Bantam says you look like a doorman.
Oh, yeah.
Got to worry now, he's thinking Bernie's better than Diabate. Gives Byrne a 6 who was at fault for the penalty. You gave right man of the match, and he says based on what he did, nothing.
Well, I can't remember last week, to be fair. But good game, I felt, yeah.
And a few people were saying you look like Ryland Clark.
Oh, yeah, well, I don't see that.
I think if you had a beard... I'd certainly be able to see it. It was just the dress sense and the slick back long.
Ryland Clark doesn't have a beard.
Yeah, he does.
He doesn't. He's like
no. Ryland Clark has a beard. Trust me, I've been watching Dating Naked.
Ooh, right. Well,
it's quite boring. If they didn't all have the kit off, it would be quite boring.
Well, yeah, probably would because that's the show. I mean, I watched it. Right.
It were very much like Love Island, just no one had any clothes on.
Oh, well, that's bad enough.
Consistently naked.
We're not doing that. We're not forming into that.
We could put it out for channel members.
No.
a naked episode. We don't have channel members yet.
No.
But get us to 500 subscribers on here and then we can. And if you want to see me and Korban naked, then that's what you need to do.
I'm not so sure about that. No.
This week's comment of the week. It's the comment of the week. No. Question of the week. It's the question of the week.
Is that the jingle?
Yeah, that's the jingle.
Well, I thought it was going to be like this, mass-produced big...
No, this is more SHD. There's no budget for a big...
Well, there's no budget anyway, really, is there? But I thought, I didn't think we were going to sing that like live on the thing.
It's not live.
Well, no, but this is.
It's the question of the week.
Right. So it is. How do you have your gravy? Is it thick or thin? Let us know.
I think you have got to get a good balance, and I think it always has to be Bisto best. Now it's expensive, but that's kind of the only thing that I won't cheap out on because cheap gravy just tastes like cardboard, and it's not nice. And it has to be Bisto best, and it has to be a specific one. None of this onion nonsense. I hate onion gravy. No. Absolutely terrible. I hate when gravy as well has like juices from the meat in.
No.
Terrible. If you do that, you can't cook. And I cannot cook, but I'm telling you, you can't cook. And some of the things you've been cooking on Wednesday, a disgrace. So how do you have your gravy? Is it thick? Is it thin? And I think we should probably get in some player ratings. We've been here for 15 minutes now.
15? Oh my god, right, let's crack on.
Now, as the game was not the most entertaining, there's not a lot to say about certain players, and Sam Walker was probably one of them. I've gone smack bang in the middle with your average 6 out of 10, although that's not technically in the middle, but 6 out of 10 always seems to be just kind of an average performance. He didn't have a single save to make. They didn't have a shot on target. They had the shot which hit both posts, and that was about it. The only thing I can really remember Sam Walker doing was he punched a corner which nearly went on the halfway line. That was about it, so he gets a 6 out of 10.
Stevie Wonder would have had a fine game in goal, wouldn't he? Because, nothing to do. Unless I'm wrong. I don't think he had a save to make. So, 6.
Brad Halliday is up next then. I'm also going to give him a 6 out of 10. Defensively, I thought he was okay. Nothing really too stand out from that point of view. Going forward, had some good link-up play at times, but that final ball wasn't there. He put in a cross right near the end of the game, and it was pretty comfortably saved. It was overhit, too lofted, and it's a bit of a frustration that I have with Brad Halliday at the moment. And I don't think he was poor in the game. He has been poor at times this season. I just think he was fairly average. I certainly think that this season the back four seemed to suit him a lot more than the back three, but he didn't really do enough to stand out too much, so I'm just going solid 6 out of 10.
Yeah, 6. I can't really say he did all too well. It's solid enough defensive game. I echo what you said with the cross, but I'd like to see him cross it more, because I think he turns down too many crosses and it can slow down our attack.
I think sometimes as well he's quite predictable. I know for a full-back you would traditionally be one-footed, but every time he wants to go on the outside and try and cross the ball into the box. But we saw, I think it was last season at home to Gillingham, when he cuts inside on the left foot, he can actually shoot from distance. So I'd like to see him have that adaptability to be able to go both ways, because I think we've got quite a lot of players who are very one-footed, which is a little bit of a problem. And that is clearly all that Korban has to say. Cheick Diabate is up next. Then we have quite a lot to say about him. I'm going 9.5 out of 10. You said last week that Neil Byrne is better than Cheick Diabate, and it goes to show that my talent ID is unbelievable. I knew after game 1, watching Diabate in the AFL Trophy, he was going to be a very good signing for us, and so far he has been brilliant. Contributed to back-to-back clean sheets now, and yesterday he was absolutely sublime. A number of defensive towering headers, a number of tackles, blocks, physical tussles with Omar Bogle, and even Joe Pigott when he came on. I thought Diabate was absolutely solid for a 22-year-old to move to the other end of the country on transfer deadline day on loan. The way he's settled into this side already has been absolutely brilliant. He's already a number of different partners in that defence, and I think in a lot of the games so far he's been solid, but yesterday was another level. He was an absolute rock in the heart of our defence and definitely deserves a 9.5 out of 10. I thought he was almost perfect. 9.
And I agree. Yeah, he's better than Neil Byrne, and he's a complete centre-back. Distribution probably ain't great, but I couldn't care less about that. As long as he can hoof it in an area, that's fine. Just don't be playing out, and don't be doing big lofted through balls to your full-back on his chest. Apart from that, fantastic. His aerial ability, towering, physical presence, powerful, absolutely monstrous at the back, and like you say, couldn't have had a better game apart from his chance at back end of the second half where he nearly scored, and it just fell perfectly to him. He also had another header as well, but that's big positives. We hadn't had an aerial threat from attacking set plays, and to have one in Cheick Diabate is very promising, and he had a great game. It was like a car crash, how there's nothing beyond it. There's a car crash and everything happens in front of them in full control, and stopped a lot of attacks, which is fantastic.
If they have a car crash, would you say that they are in control or they're no longer in control?
No, the people who weren't in control who crashed, and they crashed into Diabate, so Wimbledon weren't in control. He was, because everything was in front of him.
I like that. Cheick Diabate, though, he was absolutely brilliant, and I love the no-nonsense element about him. Every time the ball came anywhere near the defence and he wasn't so sure, or he didn't have that half a second, it wasn't just, let's try and do a dummy and play it back to the keeper like what Stubbs, Oyegoke, Tompkinson would do. It was just get it as high up into the sky and as far away from this goal as possible, and I think it suits the team that we've got, it suits the manager, and I think Diabate was brilliant yesterday. But a man who was even better, Jack Shepherd, 10 out of 10. There's not been many 10s so far, but I can't find a single fault in his game yesterday. I thought he was outstanding. He was absolutely unbelievable. The amount of last-ditch tackles he put in, interceptions, blocks, absolutely brilliant. The amount of headers as well that he won, absolutely exceptional. He doesn't look like the most physical of centre-halves, but he bullied Omar Bogle yesterday. And while Diabate was amazing, I thought Jack Shepherd was even better. There was an incident, I think, in the second half where he was under a bit of pressure from the Wimbledon players, and he just took it past 2 or 3 of them so casually, Critchlow-esque, and Jack Shepherd for me and Diabate, they could form one of the best partnerships we've seen since the likes of Roy McArdle, Andrew Davies. I know it's early and I don't think they'll quite hit them heights, but from what we've seen so far, they have been absolutely brilliant. And yesterday, Yes, Wimbledon had a few half chances, and obviously the shot that they had to hit both posts from, but neither of them were anywhere near the play. It was Clark-Ador's man who ended up getting a shot off, so absolutely no complaints with Jack Shepherd yesterday. I don't think he could put in a better performance than that. If he plays like that every game between now and the end of the season, he'll comfortably win Player of the Year. I thought Diabate was brilliant, but Jack Shepherd just ever so slightly edged it for me. I thought he was outstanding. His distribution as well, absolutely brilliant. He gets a 10 out of 10. Is that the first time this season I've given a 10? Let us know down in the comment section down below.
I can't believe you give a centre-back a 10 out of 10.
He was perfect. Clean sheet to go with it as well.
How can... it's not perfect, is it?
What more could he have done?
He wasn't as good as Diabate.
I thought Shepherd were brilliant.
Yeah, but Diabate nearly come away with 2 goals. It could have won us the game.
The only reason why I marked Diabate down by half a rating was really early on in the second half. Bogle span away from him and Diabate had to take the foul. That was the only bit that I didn't think was perfect about Diabate. Apart from that, I thought they were both brilliant.
Yeah, to be fair, Diabate made 2 or 3 fouls that weren't given. But he had a good game, Shepherd. I mean, if I were to do an 8.5, I would, but I don't do 0.5, so it's an 8. But he was still fantastic. Won everything. And look, I'm not sure about comfortable, but what I describe Jack Shepherd is unorthodox. His approach. It looks a bit, he looks clumsy, but he isn't, and he wasn't. But it's just his approach to how he goes into a tackle. I think it's probably because he's got long dangly legs.
Reminds me a bit of a giraffe.
Yeah.
But in a good way.
Yeah. Is it?
I don't know, it just gives me like giraffe sort of vibes because he's so elegant but so casual and strong in a tackle, very strong in a tackle.
I'd prefer to say George Miller or James Anson as a centre-back.
I'm not doing these strikers in centre-back. Anything else to add on either the 2 centre-backs?
No, I hold my hands up. They're fantastic and they've got a good partnership forming there and a good balance to them as well. Yeah, they're almost spot on, to be fair.
Out of all the centre-backs we've got, I think them 2 certainly look the most comfortable in playing in a back 4. Would you say that them 2 are our 2 starting centre-backs now when everyone's fit and available?
Yeah.
So where does your Princess Neil fit into this? Does he even make the bench these days?
Well, no, he doesn't, does he?
I would like to congratulate you on taking some accountability on the fact that your Princess Neil doesn't deserve to play for this great football club.
I know. I'm gonna cry. I've left him. It's like, well, I don't know if this is a nice thing to say, but it's like an orphanage. I've put him in there. I've deserted him. Poor Neil.
Isn't it amazing to see though that as soon as Byrne comes out of the team, we get back-to-back clean sheets?
Did we not get 2 clean sheets in a row against? No one.
Burns had 1 clean sheet at home to Salford.
Salford, yeah. I thought we got a clean sheet against them K-Dons, but I keep forgetting we conceded. No, hold my hands up, all wrong. We need to move on.
To Lewis Richards.
Oh, he were good. He were my man of the match. No, I'm joking. Diabate were my man of the match. He gets an 8 though.
Yeah, I can see he gets an 8. That's what I put down.
Oh, have you? I can't see. Blind as an ox. Go on then, talk about Lewis Richards.
You started talking about him.
Yeah,
so
right.
You might as well carry on.
Well, great physicality. Took players on. We had a heartbeat to our forward attacks. Everything came down the left side in the first half. I believe it was an injury.
Hamstring. Or dead leg, one of the 2.
Oh, Jesus Christ, not again. How many bloody injuries?
It's all to defenders, isn't it?
God. Oh, just move on, he's depressing me. He had a good game.
I thought Lewis Richards was really good, actually. It was a shame to see him, not only see him come off, but to see who his replacement was, I think, was the bigger problem, who I'm sure we'll come on to in a moment. But before we do that, because this play range is not going to be as long as normal, we have a little game to play. So we're going to play a little game of Guess the Player. If you want to see this return for future play ratings, and then obviously they'll be a little bit longer, let us know down in the comment section down below, and make sure to like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. Can we hit 70 likes on today's video? But how this is going to work, I'm going to read out the club of this player. Korban will then have a guess. If he gets it right, then, well, that'll kind of
I've got it right there.
Not be very entertaining for you guys, but let us know in the comments who you think it is as well. Play along at home. Let us know who you guessed for each club and all that sort of stuff. But obviously, they previously have had to play for Bradford City, so that can be your first club, Bradford City.
All right. Wait, so they played for us first?
No, this is in a random order.
Oh, well, what good's that?
I'll give you it in the full order once we've gone through all of them.
I don't know. Jan Songa.
It is not Jan Songa. Next club I'll give you is Leyton Orient.
Josh Wright.
It's not Josh Wright. Next club I'll give you is Birmingham City.
Clayton Donaldson, even though
it is not Clayton Donaldson. Next up I'll give you Grays Athletic.
Are they Irish?
Place of birth, England.
No, not the player. I mean the club.
Oh no, Grays Athletic are like a non-league English side.
Oh, are they? Oh God. Well, he's probably Southern. Matty Palmer.
It's not Matty Palmer. Next club I'll give you is Barnet.
Barnet. Bloody hell. Oh, Harry Pritchard.
It's not Harry Pritchard. That's a good guess though. Next I will give you Ipswich Town. This is another loan.
Harry Chapman.
Not Harry Chapman. Next I will give you Ebbsfleet United. This was the final club he played for.
Aaron McLean.
It is Aaron McLean. Well done.
There we go.
Yeah, that is. So he started out at Leyton Orient, then went to Grays on loan before joining Aldershot. 2 years back at Grays before joining Peterborough on loan. Stayed there for 4 years. Then went to Hull for 3 years. Had loans at Ipswich and Birmingham. Joined Bradford for a season where he scored 6 goals in 33. Went back on loan to Peterborough. Went to Barnet for a year and had 2 years at Ebbsfleet and retired in 2018. Let us know down in the comment section down below. Did you get that? How many guesses did you get it in? Congratulations to Korban. You actually got that with none of the obvious teams. I feel like Peterborough and Hull would have been the very obvious ones.
Yeah.
How did you get it from Ebbsfleet? I had no idea he played for Ebbsfleet. There you go. That is this week's episode of Guess the Player. Let us know down below if you want it to return for next week. And did you get Aaron McLean? Let's move on then to the midfielders next. First up, we will go to the right midfielder, Bobby Poynton. I've gone at 6 out of 10. I thought he was fairly average in the game. Didn't take enough risks for me, and I feel like at times was slowing down our attacks. Wasn't bad. Was surprised to see him play the full game, though, in all honesty. So I'm just going to go with your average 6 out of 10.
Bobby Poynton, 6. I agree with everything you said. Probably only stayed on the pitch because we're hoping for a moment of brilliance, and it didn't come. And I think that's what you're hanging on to with Bobby Poynton. Unfortunately, didn't produce that.
It was his first home league start this season as well. And I think in games this season, he has been a little bit underwhelming, a little bit poor. I don't think he was bad yesterday. And it goes for a lot of players. They were just fairly average, just didn't quite do enough on the ball and didn't really do enough with it.
Yeah, and you need to protect him as well. But we need to make sure his confidence is still high. We don't want that knocking. So whether that's working him in the team, maybe giving him a bit of time out. And as fans, we've got to make sure we're keeping our youth players confident as well.
Richie Smallwood is up next then. I was going to go with the average at 6 out of 10, but I'm going to go 6.5 out of 10 because he helped give me a title and thumbnail for yesterday's vlog. So thank you, Richie. You get an extra half rating for that. Obviously, the tackle, which is probably the most important thing. I spoke about it at the end of yesterday's vlog. I don't think it's a bad tackle. It's just the fact that Hippolyte is then obviously already on the way over, so it looks like Smallwood's kicked him in the head. He hasn't done that. It was a firm but fair challenge. It was one-footed. The ball was there to be won. I think a foul is harsh, but that's just my personal opinion. You know, the game's gone and all that sort of stuff. The referees are woke, all that nonsense. But I'm going 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, 5 for me, because I mean, I've looked at his stats and they look brilliant, but I didn't see that. I came away from the game thinking he underwhelmed me a bit, so I'm going to stick with that. I don't really agree with basing a performance on stats, whether that's team performance or player performance. If you didn't think they did well, they didn't do well, just say that. So that's what I'm saying. Because, like I say, his stats do look great, but I think, especially passing, you know, you can look at, he got, 35 passes completed, 32 attempted. Well, that can't be right. 32 completed, 35 attempted. And it's like, oh yeah, that looks brilliant, but where were those passes going? And how did he, play the pass? Was it a crisp pass? Was it? I think he played one to Tariq Wright, and it were behind him, and we had a counter attack on, and that was frustrating. So I think his passing was actually poor in the game, which annoyed me. But the free kick, it was never bloody a free kick, and the referees. This is probably controversial. I actually thought the referee had a good game apart from the big moments, which you don't normally say. Not normally it's the opposite. But no, he got the penalty wrong, which Joe Adams should have won. I didn't see the Oliver penalty, to be fair. I don't know what I was doing. I probably wasn't looking, and which actually happened earlier. When they went through 1-on-1 and Patterson made that slide tackle. I didn't have a clue how it went through because I was looking down at the stewards and there were like 4 of them just walking by. And I was just looking at them, and then all of a sudden I see their player in the penalty box. I thought, what's happened here? So can you explain that to me? Because I still don't have a clue what happened.
So we will move on to Alex Patterson then in that case. I've gone 7 out of 10. I was going to go with an average 6, but that tackle alone, it saved a certain goal. The ball got kind of played down the line and it went past both Diabate and Shepherd, and suddenly, I can't remember who it was it maybe Hippolyte? It was one of the Wimbledon players, was then in on goal, and Patterson's chasing after him. He does really well to put him off and delay him as much as possible. I think Walker actually staying on his goal line made it more difficult for the striker, because obviously if he comes out it's easy then just to lob it over him or then take that early shot on, but because he delayed, it then made the striker delay and it allowed us then to get more bodies behind the ball. Patterson eventually got the block or the tackle in and it saved an absolute certain goal, so that's why he gets a 7 from me, just for that moment alone, because he's helped save us a point from that point of view. And I think on the whole, apart from that, he wasn't too impactful on the game. Had a shot near the end which went well wide, but on the whole I think it was a pretty average performance, but that moment alone it saved a certain goal, so I have to bump him up a bit for that.
Yeah, so 7 for me as well because of that moment, and he showed good energy during the game as well.
Tyreek Wright is up next then. I've gone with a 4 out of 10. First half, I thought it was fairly average. I think it was Richards was more of the threat down that left-hand side. Obviously, he was playing as a left midfield in a 4-4-2. I was quite excited to see how he would get on playing in that position, in that formation, and I just thought on the whole he was fairly average. So he'd have probably got a 6 for that. But the second half, again, why are we still persisting with Tyreek Wright? Not even as a left wing-back, as a left full-back. I mean, come on, put Halliday over to left back, put Jay Ben at right back. That would have definitely been much the better decision to do from Alexander. He didn't do that, and unfortunately that's why Tyreek Wright now gets a bad rating, because he's terrible in left back. There was an incident in the second half where we nearly conceded from, well, we did technically concede, but it was offside, where the ball's bouncing and Tyreek Wright decides to head it down and play it perfectly into the path of the Wimbledon player. He then plays it forward. It looked like to me that Shepherd then played it through to Stevens, who went on to score, but because Stevens was offside when their player played it, it doesn't technically count as a new phase of play, as Shepherd wouldn't have gone for the ball if Stevens wasn't there. So that's why it was given offside, because I've seen a few Wimbledon fans complaining about that, but he's just not a left back whatsoever, and I would have marked him down a lot more if he wasn't a natural left back, so he kind of gets a little bit of the benefit of doubt. But he's been playing in this position as a left back or left wing back for a number of games now. It's 20-30 sort of games, including last season, pre-season, all that sort of stuff, and he's just not showing enough for me, in my opinion, and I just don't think he's good enough. He's not able to adapt, and like I say, Halliday at left back and Ben at right back would have been much the better decision, in my opinion. Yes, you don't have that natural left-footed balance, but at this moment in time, that would have definitely been the better option, so I'm going 4 out of 10.
He's not comfortable there. You look at his body language, and he doesn't seem confident, he doesn't seem comfortable. You can tell he looks out of position. If you're an opposition fan who knows nothing about Bradford City, you'd look at a left back and go, is he a left back? Cause he looks all over the place, and especially when he's defending, he makes one error or one mistake, and then his performance goes like that. He dips. His head seems to drop a bit, which is a shame. And we know he struggled with confidence. And another big shame is you look how good he was in the first half as a left winger, and I'd probably give him a 7 if he continued on that vein, because he was using his pace, he was driving at players, and he looked like a threat. But that second half, it completely went. And I'd say as well, playing as a winger, I think he seems more in full flow when he's a winger as well, because he knows he's just got to take his player on and get round him. Whereas when he's a left back, he's got players in front of him and he seems more indecisive. And when players are indecisive, they look a shocking player, and that's what he was doing. And I mean, I lost it with him at last minute when he got the ball, and he just never wanted to drive with it. He never wanted to bring the ball into a space, and he got the ball, stood on it, and looked around. And there were a chance to counter, and it went. And there were so many chances to counter down at left side, and he turned them down. And I mean, to be fair to him, it won his right foot as well. But we had a free kick, and it came to him, and it came on his right foot, and he just stood on the ball and let the players charge him down and kicked it to the side. I mean, just have a go. It's just that bit of confidence that I think he's lacking, but certainly playing as left back, it won't help that at all.
I think Tyreek Wright might benefit from the Callum Kavanagh knock, where he gets absolutely no knock whatsoever, and he just has 2 or 3 games out of the side, out of the squad completely, just allowed that mental reset, because obviously Kavanagh's now back in with the squad. He played on Tuesday, was on the bench yesterday, and I think Tyreek Wright could do with that, but we kind of can't afford to do that with Richards currently being unavailable, obviously, again now, and then we don't really have another option there. I mean, you could put Jack Shepherd there, but why would you want to take him out centre-back? And again, we have no other centre-backs to play in that position. So it's a little bit of frustration with the injury crisis at the moment. But we'll move on to Andy Cook next. Obviously, one of our 2 starting strikers in the game. I've gone with the average 6 out of 10. I think the referee, once again, didn't really give him much. I thought for the large part, though, Cook was going down a little bit soft at times. There was an incident in the first half inside the penalty area where he had the opportunity to stay on his feet and he went down just a little bit too easy for me, looking for it, begging for it a little bit. And I think Cook doesn't really get much support from the officials when he definitely should do. You know, he gets assaulted all game and the referees are fine with it, but he breathes near an opposition player and he suddenly gets a yellow card. I mean, I don't even know why he got booked. It must have been for something he said, because he wasn't even involved in the aftermath after Smallwood's tackle. But I felt a little bit sorry for Cook, but I think again he could have got involved in the game a little bit more, was feeding off of scraps going forward, no service into the box, so I'm going average 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll give him a 7 because I thought first half the balls into a channel were causing, I think it was Lewis, the centre back for them, it was causing them some tough problems, and Cook seemed to get the better of them. But then in the second half, when the game was drifting, you know, his performance dropped a bit. But that first half, the first half an hour, it was really important in bullying and holding the ball up, and his work rate to run in the channels and to harass their defenders and goalkeeper. It was really important in us sustaining our attacks in that period of time, and we just didn't give him the service. And if you don't give a striker like Andy Cook service, you can't complain. But you know, you can't knock his performance either, because every other team in the league would love an Andy Cook. And if Wimbledon had Andy Cook for them, he scores, they win with the chances that they had. So he's a massively important player, but just didn't get any chances to feed off.
Just on Lewis, the Wimbledon centre-back, I think he was number 31. 2 things to add. He was a useless footballer. Every time the ball came near him, it was just boot it, kick it, all that sort of stuff. You know, there was no actual technical ability there. But why was his kit so small? His shorts were so tight. His t-shirt was so... that can't be comfortable to play in.
No, I think he got his kit from the under-9s, didn't he? And I think there must have been a mix-up there. I mean, they've got to play around the under-9s kit. We don't have a watery pitch. I mean, this is like prime League 2 football, isn't it?
I think the Wimbledon centre-back Lewis could have done with swapping kits with Poynton, and then they both might have had a kit that fit him.
Yeah.
Ollie Sanderson up next, then the final player in the starting 11. Very similar to Cook. I'm going 6 out of 10. Fairly average in the game. Didn't really get much service. Wasn't really involved all too much as well. A little bit of a frustrating one again for me for Sanderson, because I think at times he can be good, but he doesn't quite get involved in the game enough, and I think he does take a bit of physical pressure off of Andy Cook. But if Cook's not getting the support from the officials, Sanderson is also then not getting the support from the officials, and I just don't quite think he did enough in the game. I think he probably would have stayed on for a bit longer if Joe Adams didn't get that injury, because it kind of forces them to make the Oliver change, who I don't think was that impactful, to be fair. It was kind of too like for like. But Sanderson, I'm going with a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, didn't get involved too much. I don't think it were a type of game for Ollie Sanderson.
Into the substitutions then, Joe Adams was up first. He came on at half-time for Lewis Richards. We obviously had a slight tweak. That was when Wright went to left-back. He was on the pitch for 17-18 minutes, got absolutely cleaned out inside the penalty area. How that's not a penalty, I'll never know. I don't think it's an intentional foul from James Furlong. He kind of just runs into the back of Adams, but obviously it seems like quite a serious injury. He's landed on his knee, and he tried to continue, but went down another minute or two later, and obviously then had to be substituted off. It's never nice to see a substitute be substituted, but especially Joe Adams, who's had such a frustrating time at Bradford City so far. Missed all the pre-season. We finally managed to sign him a couple of weeks into the season, was then building up his fitness, played a couple of games in the AFL Trophy, got injured on Tuesday, thankfully was available for this match, got injured again yesterday, and I was liking what I was seeing from Joe Adams. I think he's a good ball carrier. I've given him a 6.5 out of 10. I would have liked to see a bit more from him. Obviously, unfortunately, that injury kind of curtailed his game, and I hope that it's not going to be kind of the story of his career at Bradford City, because he's, you know, injuries and fitness, and he's just not quite had that consistent run of games on the pitch. And if it continues like this until January, I could see Wigan recalling him and sending him to a National League side just to get him some regular first team football where he's actually going to stay fit and available. But I'm going 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I echo everything you said there. I think he had some bright moments. Technically looked fantastic on the ball and caused some problems. And he was a different type of player that we had on the pitch, so he made an impact. And it was a shame he got off with 10 minutes. Should have had a penalty. Caused a different change of momentum when he was on the pitch, and the game swayed back into Wimbledon's favour when he went off it. So shame he's injured, because, like I say, if it dents his momentum that he could get in the team, and that's obviously a big problem for him mentally.
Yeah, fingers crossed it's not a significant or serious injury, because I think going into next week against Harrogate, we've got 16, maybe 17 senior first team players available, which is a massive concern. We're going to end up having 4 strikers on the bench next week: young Gabriel Wadsworth and maybe Jay Ben. And Colin Doyle as well. We're massively losing a lot of players, and a lot of key players as well. A lot of players who would be starting or at least on the bench. So a little bit of a concerning one for me. Clark Adore is up next then. I'm going 6 out of 10. Fairly average. Didn't really do much in the game. There are a few times where he won the ball back well, quite high up the pitch, and then that final delivery into the box was slightly overhit or slightly underhit, just didn't quite have that final end product. He tried and he worked hard, and I do think Adore is a good technical player, but I just don't think we quite saw enough from him yesterday to really rock the team at the moment and really force his way back into the side. So I think he was on for about half an hour or so, and I'm just going to give him an average 6.
I have nothing to say.
Then Oliver, I'm also going to give an average 6. Again, we said there'd be a lot of average in this video. Didn't really do much. Won a couple of headers, which was nice to see. Put himself about a bit. Got stuck in with the incident near the end of the game. But again, bit similar to Sanderson. I think when Oliver came on, we started then going far too direct, and we'd win a flick on, and then the other striker would run the other way, and it just roll through to their keeper, and it happened 4 or 5 different times. So a bit of a frustrating one for me. So then Oliver, I'm just going to go again, average 6 out of 10.
I have nothing to say.
Graham Alexander is the final play rating for today's video. Then I'm going 5 out of 10. I did quite like the starting 11, in all honesty. I think it was almost basically what I picked in my match preview, which I think is the first time that this has happened this season. I think the only change was I would have started Adore over Poynton, because I think Poynton is better as an impact sub, but apart from that, no real complaints. I think the substitutions, obviously losing Lewis Richards, he can't do anything about that, but it's how he reacted to that. I don't think putting him right into left back was the right idea. I've mentioned before that I'd rather seen Halliday go to left back, so I think he'd be quite comfortable in doing so, and then see Jay Ben come on at right back, who I think was pretty solid on Tuesday night. So that was my only frustration. Maybe we could have brought Kavanagh on as well, as just kind of something a bit different for the Wimbledon players to deal with, and then even maybe Jay Ben coming on for Brad Halliday is a bit more of an attacking threat on at that side. So overall, a bit of a frustrating one. I think obviously the pitch, not having access to water as a professional football club, is crazy. Not really something you can blame Alexander for if you only found out on the day. Again, why is he only finding out on the day, or why are we only just testing the sprinklers, for example, the day before a match day? Because it's them 1 or 2 extra percentages which factor in come the end of the season. If that pitch is wetter, do we end up going on and win the football match? All if buts and maybes and all that sort of stuff. But I'm going 5 out of 10.
Well, I don't know. I'd probably give him a 7, because I thought we played well. Maybe we went a bit too direct, but I find that quite entertaining. Thought the first half an hour was, an entertaining game. I thought we were on the front foot. That's how I want to see us play at home and getting the fans on side. We failed to keep the most of the momentum, but little things have happened in the game. Could he react to better? So, like you said, the substitution, I agree. I think Tariq Wright's not left back, and he needs to accept that. But there's not what he can do about a proper left back getting injured. So he reacted to that performance in midweek. I also like the team selection from midweek as well. Players playing well, getting the chance, taking the chance, and being able to show what they've got on a league match day. Where we'll see the make of this team now is these next 3 games. It's a good point against a good side at home. We're still unbeaten at home, which is good for confidence and for fan confidence as well. But now we've got 2 away games against teams that are must-wins, Harrogate and Morecambe, who will be down there. And then we've also got someone else down there as well.
Newport, I think.
Newport, yeah, on Monday night. And that's also a must-win. We win our next 3 games, we're flying. If we pick up 5 points, it's not too bad, but it's very disappointing, and you'd have concerns about the team. And anything less than 5 points, I think serious questions need to be asked. So that's where we'll see the 2 salts of the team.
I think for the next 3 games, it's an absolute minimum of 7 points, but we should be aiming for 9 points. And I know Harrogate away is traditionally a fixture and a place where we've struggled to go. They are pretty decent at home against the better sides in the division. Then Morecambe away, Derek Adams, few former players there, Lee Angle, Luke Hendry, Jan Songo. I think we all know how that one's going to end. Obviously, they're absolutely terrible. They're bottom of the league. I think they actually play tomorrow, is it? Away at Fleetwood? Pretty sure. And then obviously that game against Newport, they've had an iffy start to the season, started out well and then kind of slowly fallen off in the last couple of matches, but that won't be easy again. Monday on Sky, all that sort of stuff. So on the whole, it's not a bad point come the end of it, but I just think when we look at where we are in the table, we're 8th, we're still well in and around it, but we've not really had too many really hard fixtures. You know, we've not faced a Gillingham, a Notts County, a Portvale, and I think come December, when I think December is a really, really tricky month for us, we need to be in that top 3, because that could be a really, really season-defining month for us. And last season we were very streaky under Alexander. This season we've been a bit more inconsistent, where we'll win a game, lose a game, win a game, draw a game, lose a game. It has been very inconsistent so far, which I don't know if I prefer is to be streaky or inconsistent.
Right, so let us know if you want guests to play back, because I enjoyed it for one. It were good, lovely jubbly. Keep telling us what you think. We want to know what gravy you like. We want to know your player ratings. We also would like to know your thoughts on the 2 centre backs, because they were fantastic. Give us a referee player rating as well, because he were useless. You say, and Alexander's player rating. So I'd say that's
Alexander could do a better job at centre back than Neil Byrne. Good night.
That's exposed yourself. Oh no, are we still going?
Yeah, go on.
Remember my deal.